It's our third mock draft here on Patriots Today. Let's go. Harrison Graham here from Chat Sports. Rolly's going to chime in on this mock as well. And we're going to do a 3-round mock draft with trades. It's going to get spicy. It's going to be fun, so stay tuned as we progress here. And again, if you want more Patriots draft content, like this video. It seems like based on the views, the comments, you guys have been enjoying the Patriots draft videos, whether they've been mocks or just talking about some of the quarterbacks in this draft, etc. If you want more of that, hit that like button. Get 200 likes on this video. We'll do another mock draft next week. All right, trade alert. We're trading down, baby, from the number 2 overall pick with the Las Vegas Raiders. Patriots pick up 6, 38, and 70, a first next year. The Raiders jump up to number 2 and pick up a 4th-round pick as well. Rolly, what was your thought process when cooking this trade?
So I cooked up this mock draft, and the first 2, we took Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 3, and then the second mock draft with the second pick, we had Drake Maye. This time I wanted to go experimental a little bit. The Raiders came calling. They offered a pretty package, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but my spidey senses went a little tingling of a possible scenario with a trade down. So I thought it was a good move. I mean, you recoup a lot of draft picks. You only move back 4 spots, and you might be able to get your franchise quarterback. Spoiler alert, not anymore!
Oh, Jayden Daniels, onions. Jayden Daniels, number 6 overall. And listen, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, they're the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft, but Matt Miller of ESPN had Jayden Daniels go number 4 in his recent mock draft. So he's rising. He's going to go top 10 likely. And yeah, if you want to get more volume of picks here, trading down and still getting a guy like Jayden Daniels, I think would be very, very good for New England. He had an unbelievable senior year. His numbers actually for 12 games played are parallel with Joe Burrow. They're very, very close. Now, I'm not saying he's a Joe Burrow prospect. I'm not saying he's to that level, but he's dual threat. He's very accurate with the football. He took a lot of big hits for being a thin frame. I do wonder/worry about that at the NFL level. Like, he's tough as hell, but you take those same level of hits by NFL pass rushers, linebackers, defensive tackles, etc. That is concerning. I'll be curious to see where he weighs in at the NFL Combine or at his pro day, whichever he chooses to do in terms of weighing in. But I like this kid. He's nails. He obviously won the Heisman Trophy. He carried that LSU team this year. Like, I know they have a ton of talent offensively. Spoiler alert, stay tuned. But that defense was horrible. I mean, they had to score 40, 50 points per game to win some of these games, and he was the main reason why. So you trade down, get him at 6, pick up a couple extra picks. I definitely am very intrigued by that idea. So be honest. Would you trade down and draft Jayden Daniels? Would you be in on that idea? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Pin comment on today's video. After this YouTube ad break, we will continue with this mock draft. Oh, Rolly, we're trading again. We're trading up this time.
I mentioned my spider senses were tingling, and as nice as it was to recoup a first-round pick next year from Las Vegas, because they could be bad if they draft a quarterback at number 2, and the extra second-round pick, I decided that it would be better well used in this year's draft. So I took that 2025 from Las Vegas. I took the second-rounder they gave us, and then I sent to sweeten the deal with Atlanta, our current 139th overall selection, to move back up to 11 because there was one specific guy that catches my eye at the wide receiver position, and he was still there at 11, so I had to take Jayden Daniels' teammate, Malik Nabers.
Let's go, Malik Nabers, Jayden Daniels re-teaming up in New England. And look, if you had to ask me, just Drake Maye or Caleb Williams or Jayden Daniels and Malik Nabers, it's a tough call, man. Like, it really is. Nabers is that special. I think if Marvin Harrison wasn't in this draft, we'd be talking about Malik Nabers as one of the best receivers in recent drafts. I mean, it's not just the production. He is so smooth. The yards after the catch, the route running. He's got enough size. I think he was listed at 6'1". I think he'll probably measure in at 6 foot. That's plenty. You see guys like DJ Moore, 5'11", 6 foot, who are very explosive, can play that X receiver spot in the NFL. 18 yards a catch this year, and he just made some ridiculous plays for Jayden Daniels. And the chemistry's already there, Rolly. You talk about playing with a rookie quarterback. Obviously, he's got to build chemistry with receivers. Well, if you get his teammate, which he already has chemistry with, that certainly may help some of the growing pains that you would see early on in Daniels' career.
I mean, we've kind of seen it a little bit. I mean, not really because there was a one-year gap, but Jamar Chase came right into the league and had one of the best rookie seasons in NFL history. Why? Well, he was playing with his quarterback that he played in Louisiana, ironically enough, LSU duo as well. So, like, I was thinking here, and if you want to think what the Patriots did in total, we turned the second overall pick, 102nd, which is a fourth rounder, and a fifth rounder, 139. So a 2, a 4, and a 5 into Jayden Daniels, Malik Nabers, and a third round pick again, which will be coming up in a bit. I mean, listen, you mentioned it. I'm the biggest Drake Maye guy, maybe on the planet. Caleb Williams is also fantastic. Those two could be Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Hell, maybe they can, maybe they won't be. But it's hard to ignore the potential of grabbing this duo without having to really give up that many assets. I mean, you give up a 4 and a 5, and you get those two plus a third rounder. I mean, it's unlikely that this scenario exactly plays out, but it's one that whoever's calling the shots in New England this offseason should explore because it's a dynamic quarterback with one of the better wide receivers in recent memory coming out of the draft as well. I love Malik Nabers. I mean, I'd be all in.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Roy, before we keep moving on because we have more picks in this mock draft. It's not just a quarterback problem right now in New England. You do not have a single game changer on offense at any skill position. Ramondre Stevenson, nice back. Demario Douglas, I think, he can be a good number 3 receiver. Tight end room, okay. Hunter Henry's fine. Malik Nabers, at worst, I think, is a number 2 receiver in the NFL. Jayden Daniels, look, we'll see. We at least know he's dynamic, dual threat. I don't think he's going to go in there and just light the world on fire as a passer right away. But, I think he's probably an upgrade from what you have right away, which maybe that's not saying a ton. The point is, you got multiple areas to add, and if you can do so by moving a couple of pieces around, I definitely think that's something you have to heavily, heavily consider. Something you definitely should consider, too, is getting going with our daily fantasy sports sponsor here. That is Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get started today. Listen, we've been telling you guys about Prize Picks for a while. 2 to 6 player entries can win up to 25 times your money. And a little spoiler alert, right now they're doing some kind of different little daily challenges on Prize Picks during the holiday season. Depending on what day you're watching this, there's different challenges where you can even win up to 100 times your money. Now, you're kind of adding, for example, this would be Lamar, add 40 yards to this or something like that, so it's more risky. But if you find one you like, you can really cash out. We kept it simple on this one. Lamar, more passing yards. Josh Allen, more passing yards. 10 to win 30 here. Went up to 25 times your money unless you're using one of those boosters that they're offering right now. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Celebrities are playing Prize Picks like rapper Meek Mill, comedian Andrew Schultz, and others. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS today. So you got Jayden Daniels, Malik Nabers, that combination. Round 2, pick number 34, Terion Arnold, and this might be Roley's new little pet draft pick here. He's all in on Terion Arnold.
I mean, I just did a little bit of research, and I know cornerback room might not be the biggest need for New England. Obviously, getting Marcus Jones, Christian Gonzalez, who was a first-rounder last year, back to pair up with John Jones. But Terion Arnold has just been flat-out terrific in 2023 for Nick Saban. I mean, 5 picks, 11 PBUs, and he's not afraid to go make a play on the backfield as well. 6.5 tackles for loss, and PFF's a big fan of him as well, giving him a pretty outstanding grade. And he's only 6 foot. I asked our guy here at Chat Sports, who's an Alabama diehard fan, when Chris, shout out Chris, thanks for making the trip down, but he can play outside and in. He's played boundary, he's played in the slot, so that versatility always plays in New England, and now you have a cornerback room, if you take Terion Arnold, of Christian Gonzalez on the outside, John Jones, who could play inside and out. You have the two of them potentially switching basing on looks. And then you also have the X factor, Marcus Jones. You have 4 really solid corners, and this year proved that you need cornerback depth in New England after everyone's gotten hurt. So Terion Arnold in the second round, it's almost the best player available pick, but I'm kind of all in.
I love corners that are willing tacklers, too. You see a lot of corners in this league, they just don't like to tackle. Trayvon Diggs, for example. Great cover guy, gets a lot of interceptions, just does not tackle, though. Arnold with the 6.5 TFL, as you can see there, he's a willing tackler. You can bring him on those slot blitzes if you do play him in the slot. So definitely excited about him as a prospect. And, yeah, I do think it is a BPA player situation as he could go round 1. He was available early in round 2 here. Subscribe to the channel if you want the best Patriots draft content out there. We got you covered. This is probably like our 10th or 15th draft video at this point. We're not slowing down. So subscribe today. We got you covered between now and April's NFL draft. All right, the offensive tackle out of BYU in the 3rd round. I practiced this. Kingsley Suamatana. I don't think I got that right.
I mean, it's better than I could do, Harrison.
Suama Aisha? We're going to work on that.
Yeah,
I practiced this earlier, but I mentioned earlier, Rolly, that you need a lot of things on this offense, and we don't know what's going to happen with a couple of these free agent offensive linemen, 6'6", 315. Much better pass blocker according to PFF's grades this year, so be interesting to see if this is a guy who could come in and start or be more of a backup early on.
I mean, we mentioned this in prior videos, but since free agency comes before the draft, that will dictate a lot of things we're thinking about going into April in Foxborough, right? A lot of cap space. We'll know by draft time if Trent Brown or Mike Owenu is back on the New England offensive line, and if those two are back, well, that will dictate how the draft goes, but in these mock draft scenarios, we have to consider all factors. I'm kind of banking on one of the two leaving, so an offensive lineman is probably going to be a must in the early, probably before day 2, you're going to have to draft an offensive tackle. That is just a fact. I expect Trent Brown to leave, if we're going to be honest. That's just my personal belief. I like Trent Brown, but some of the things he said to the media this year, some of the stuff he's posted on social media makes me think he might be looking to leave the New England area. So, unfortunately, I expect to have to replace one of Mike Owenu or Trent Brown.
All right, one more pick in the 3rd round. Remember, we picked this pick up from Las Vegas as well. Johnny Wilson, the second of the 2 Florida State receivers that are draft eligible. Keon Coleman expected to go round 1. Wilson probably more day 2 here. Get him early-ish in the 3rd round. A very intriguing player, Rolly. 6'7", 237. I mean, I think he's probably just I don't think you convert him to tight end in the NFL, but I think he's a guy, in the red zone, you can split him out wide for jump ball situations. You can play him big slot, in between the 20s, have him work the seam. He can do a variety of things. I don't think he's going to wow people at the combine with his speed, but he's just a football player and a big target, so I definitely would be intrigued by that.
I could definitely see New England potentially using him as like a Mike Gesicki replacement, who obviously signed a 1-year deal. Gesicki's got some size to him. He doesn't really play on the line often as the blocker. The only tight end that does that is Hunter Henry, and if they do want to bring in a blocking tight end, it's mostly Farrell Brown. So when Gesicki's on the field, it's mostly in the slot running routes. I think Johnny Wilson could replace him for that, and I just think, like Harrison mentioned, you need playmakers all over the field. A 6'7" wide receiver, that might play as a playmaker.
A lot of plays, too.
And one thing I'll mention, too, before we move on and finish out this video is you saw a division rival, Buffalo. They drafted Dalton Kincaid in the 1st round last year, the tight end of Utah. They do not use him as a conventional tight end. They use him like Travis Kelce, where he's mostly a slot wide receiver. So I don't think it's out of the ordinary to have Johnny Wilson do some tight end-esque things potentially, but I'm also not expecting them to block. I think he'd just be a big slot guy for New England, like they use Kincaid and like they use Gesicki this year.
And again, I'm very much on board with taking 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds because you got to get playmakers for this offense. So there you have it, Patriots Mock Draft 3.0. We had some fun with it, a couple of trades. Get the combination of Jayden Daniels, Malik Nabers, LSU, quarterback and receiver. Get that combo going. Terion Arnold there in the 2nd round, get a defensive back. Kingsley Suamasha, the offensive tackle for BYU. And then Johnny Wilson, another offensive weapon out of Florida State. Grade our mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. I think this is definitely the most fun mock draft we've done so far. Obviously, if you're sitting there at 2, drafting Williams or May is going to be very appealing, but if you can get the combination of Daniels and Nabers, I would definitely be open to that as well. A, B, C, D, or F, give us a grade down in the comments. All right, that's going to do it for Patriots Today by Chat Sports. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. Turn on those notifications so you never miss our coverage. We'll see you guys soon. Go Pats.